ZyXEL. In this USG how-to video, we'll discuss how to use IDP and App Patrol with the new security policy features. The latest USG appliances support even better granular application control than their predecessors. Application objects can be used to drop traffic, control their bandwidth, or allow them through the firewall unhindered for everyone, for specified users, for specific interfaces, and so forth. Of course, to see how all this works, you'll need to log into your USG. Connect to the USG's LAN port and point your web browser to its management IP address. The default IP address for the USG is 192.168.1.1. If it's using the default self-signed certificate on your USG, your browser may present a security warning, but it's perfectly okay to proceed. The default username is admin, and the default password is 1234. If you're still using the default password, you'll be prompted to change it and will have to log back in using the new password. Once you've logged in, you should see the dashboard and the menu bar on the left margin. From the menu bar, go to the Configuration, Objects, Application menu and click the Add button. Although the name field is mandatory and doesn't allow for the use of special characters or spaces, the description field is optional and can be used for easier reference. An application rule can have multiple applications assigned to it, so you'll want to click the Add button in the pop-up menu to bring up another menu from which you can select your applications. You can search for applications by category or by service. For the former, applications will be categorized by major categories in the next drop-down menu, such as peer-to-peer, streaming media, gaming, file sharing, and so forth. For the latter, you'll be able to search directly using a service name, for example, Netflix, MSN, and so forth. The USG supports thousands of signatures imported with the use of an active IDP license. For more info on registering your USG appliance and applying an IDP trial or license, see our other USG how-to video, License Registration. Once you've selected the applications you need to use in the rule, click OK to add them to the rule, then click OK again to save the new rule. You can now use this rule as an object in your bandwidth management or App Patrol and security policy rules. For example, let's say you want to control how much bandwidth Netflix uses on a whole. To do this, go to the Configuration, Bandwidth Management menu, enable Bandwidth Management, and click Apply. Next, use the Add button to create a new bandwidth management rule. Add an optional description and set the incoming interface to the default WAN trunk. Select the Application Object Radio button and select your Netflix rule from the Application Object drop-down menu. Then, set the inbound bandwidth kilobits per second to a data rate that conforms to your network's needs, and set an appropriate priority. Then, click OK to save the rule and enforce it. Alternatively, you can make several different rules to alter bandwidth for a service based on certain users, groups, schedules, and so forth. This rule will control incoming bandwidth used by Netflix when it streams media to local users. If, on the other hand, you want to block Netflix altogether, you could do so by creating an App Patrol rule and enforcing it on a security policy. Go to the Configuration, UTM Profile, App Patrol menu, and add a new profile. Although the name field is mandatory and doesn't allow for the use of spaces or special characters, the description field is optional but can be used for easier reference. In the Profile Management field, click the Add button, and then select the application from the drop-down menu. In the Action drop-down, click OK, then click OK in the rule to save it. Next, go to the Configuration, Security Policy, Policy Control menu, and add a new policy. Although the name field is mandatory and doesn't allow for the use of special characters or spaces, the description field is optional but can be used for easier reference. In the To drop-down menu, select WAN. In the UTM Profile section, select the App Patrol profile you created in the previous step, and then click OK to save the security policy. The policy will then block all outgoing attempts from local users to the WAN to connect to Netflix. Using these two methods, or a mix of the two, it's even possible to perform very granular actions on a single program. For example, you could prioritize bandwidth on MSN Instant Messenger but then block its file sharing functions to protect the company from liability. And as long as you have an active IDP license, the signatures used for these functions will evolve to allow you to manage the latest applications being used on the internet. For more USG how-to videos, see our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/ZyXEL USA.